record. Okay. I think it should be recording this one. So I would like to, this thing needs to go. I would like to just look at of the 7 Khan Academy lessons that I assigned, 6 of them went really well. Only the last one seemed to be problematic. Scores were pretty all over the place with that last one. So I just chose 2 problems that a lot of students had trouble with, and I'm going to go over them. So is that cool?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do it. Here, what's the problem? Let me see. There it is. It says which value for the constant c makes z equals -5/4 an extraneous solution in the following equation. It's just weirdly worded. It's hard to understand what they're asking for. So I'm going to show you what I did in my notes because I was unsure. I really didn't know what they were asking. So I wrote the given equation that they provided, and I even wrote down the z value that they provided, which leaves just one variable here, right? It leaves the letter c. So wherever you see the letter z, it's been replaced with the value -5/4. These 4's cancel out. -5 plus 9 is 4, and the root of 4 is just the number 2. Here you get -5/4 c plus the number 8. And so at this point, I really didn't know what was going on. I was just kind of like caught up in solving for the letter C, and I did, and I found that C was equal to 25/4,
Mm-hmm.
24/5, excuse me. So I'm like, what exactly am I being asked to do? And I went back to the question again, and it says, what value for the constant C would make an extraneous solution? So what I found is not extraneous. What I found is that if C is 24/5, everything works out beautifully. So what I did was I went back to this step right here, where the root of 4 is the number 2. But remember, when you're finding roots, for instance, if you're asked, what is the square root of 9? The answer is simply supposed to be the number 3, right? Not -3. So I
Yeah.
wondered, what if the outcome of that 4, instead of being a 2, what if I artificially turn it into a what?
-2.
A -2. Like, let me look for that wrong outcome, right? The outcome that I'm not supposed to get. So I began to solve this same equation, not for 2 equals this stuff, but for -2 equals this stuff. And when I did, I found that C was equal to 8. Now, what does that mean? It means that if I replace this constant term with the number 8, it's going to lead to an extraneous solution. What extraneous solution? This outcome of getting a -2. I should not be getting a -2 when I take the root of 4. I should only be getting a 2. So when I went back to Khan Academy and I wanted to see what the right answer was, I think you can see it over here. The number one wrong answer that people got was 24/5. You can see 4 students chose that, but the right answer, let me see if it will reveal the answer here. The right answer is the number 8. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of funky, that problem, and I can see why so many students got it wrong. And there's actually, in this Khan Academy assignment, there's only 2 kinds of questions. So that was one of them, and here's the other kind. And I've solved this as well. It says Ernesto solves the equation below by first squaring both sides of the equation. What extraneous solution does he obtain? And before we do anything, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Something about this equation is not right. Think about what we're being asked to do. We're being asked to find the square root of something, right? And we're being
Mm-hmm.
told that answer is what kind of a number?
A negative number.
Why is that a problem?
Because don't you just want the principal root or something?
That is exactly 100% correct. When you're finding the square root of something, the outcome should always be positive. So
Yeah.
there is no solution to this equation, first and foremost. Like, we should know that
Oh,
when we go into it. So,
well,
but
okay.
Ernesto doesn't know that. Like, he doesn't stop to consider what's going on. He's just like, oh, I'm going to solve this algebraically and see what happens, right? So, here's his work, or here's what his work probably looked like.
Wait, I have another question.
Yeah.
Um, if there's a negative in the radicand, it's also no solution, right?
No, 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 no. So,
Oh,
let me address that. I'll solve this and then I'll address your question, okay?
okay.
So So here he is. He's doing the math. He's squaring both sides. He's feeling great about life. And he finds that W is equal to what?
-8.
-8, right? And he's like, oh, fantastic. I've got an answer of -8. When you go back, let's just do this in our heads. 1/2 of -8 is -4, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And -4 plus 8 is how much? 4, right? So
Yeah.
the square root of 4 is just the number what?
2.
2. 2 is not equal to -2, is it?
Yeah.
So the solution he got is extraneous. The question you had was this. You were asking, like, is it possible to have something like this? Can I have an outcome like this? And the answer is yes. You can have a negative sign under the radicand because you can also plug in negative values, Emily, right? Don't think of
Mm-hmm.
this as a negative sign. Think of it as the opposite of. So let's see what happens here in this equation, right? We come along and we do what? We square both
Square.
sides, and we find that -x plus 2 is equal to 100,
100.
right? We get that -x is equal to 98. And finally, we find that x is equal to what itself?
98.
-98,
Yeah.
right? So what happens here? Now we come along and we say, okay, what are we going to plug into this expression? We're going to find the opposite of what number? The opposite of the number -98. Well, the
Yeah.
opposite of -98 is just what?
98.
98. And 98 plus 2 is 100, and the root of 100 is, in fact, 10.
10.
So it's the outcome that cannot be negative. It's not that you can't have negative signs under the radical, it's just that the outcome cannot be negative. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So we went through a lot, I think. We looked at the entire quiz that was due today. We looked at positive outcomes for this week, that all the people who turned in Khan Academy assignments, all the people who turned in the quiz. I highlighted some of the things that we have to look out for, like the videos not getting a lot of views, and my suspicion and fear that students are only doing the stuff that's highlighted in yellow, and that's a dangerous strategy. If you're not doing all the problems that I'm assigning in your class notes, you're hard pressed to learn the content, and it catches up to you. You know, you're sitting there in a pre-calculus class next year, and those are the skills that are really really invaluable. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about this first week, Emily? Before we end the meeting?
It was okay.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought it was going to be really really difficult, and it was challenging, right? But I think teachers are doing a fantastic job, and the best of their ability to provide content and to be responsive. So I've really enjoyed interacting with students, email, chatting, phone, texting, and there is no homework this weekend unless you have to go back and do some problem solving that you didn't do during the week. And we'll be
Mm-hmm.
back at it next week, and I'll be posting this weekend. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Emily. Thanks for being on the Zoom meeting. It helped a lot to not have to talk to myself, and have a fantastic weekend. Okay.
You too. Bye.
All right, Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.